What's up, guys? Pioneer Pooch here, and Elden Ring is finally here. Now, I know that this game had a lot more hype than previous From Software games, so there's going to be a lot of new players. So we're going to break down each one of the classes real quick, just a basic description of each. This way, you know which class is specialized in what. The great thing about Elden Ring is that you're not limited to the class you start off with. So if you decide to pick an Astrologer and quickly realize that maybe sorcery isn't for you, you could just pump your strength or dexterity and transition into a melee build, for example. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. First up is the Vagabond. The Vagabond is the knight class of the game. Starts with 15 vigor, 10 mind, 11 endurance, 14 strength, 13 dexterity, 9 intelligence, 9 faith, and 7 arcane. This is probably the best class to pick if you're new to From Software games, as the high amount of vigor, as well as a decent bit in strength and dexterity, is going to make it relatively easier. He also has a shield that blocks 100% damage reduction, and a halberd, which means that if you are fighting enemies that are getting a little too tough, you could switch to the halberd to put some distance between you and the enemies. It's probably the best class to start with as well if you plan on doing a quality build. These are builds that scale in both strength and dexterity. Next up is the Warrior. The Warrior is your dexterity build of the game, as he starts with 16 dexterity. He also starts with dual scimitar, so if you planned on doing a dual-wielding build or anything like that, you could test it out early on with the Warrior. The hero is the opposite of the Warrior, as he starts off with 16 strength. He is the strength build of the game. Any great swords, great axes, anything like that, the hero is going to be the class to start with if you plan on doing a strength build. Bandit is a little bit different, as he starts with 13 dexterity and 14 arcane as his two big stats. Arcane is pretty much your luck stat or your item discovery. It also scales with some incantations, which are spells, but mostly this class is going to specialize in using daggers, bows, and finding items. The Astrologer is your mage or your sorcerer, as he starts with 16 intelligence and 15 mind, being the two stats that come to mind early on for him. Any sorcery or anything like that, this is the class that you want to pick. The Prophet is the faith build of the game. Starts with 16 faith and 14 mind. This is the class you'd want to pick if you want to use faith incantations. Samurai is what I would think is going to be the most popular class in the game. He's got a very good stat spread all around, 12 vigor, 12 strength, 15 dexterity. So he starts a little bit more with dex, but you could easily transition him into a quality build as well. And he starts with a katana, which has bleed build up. So if you hit consecutive hits, eventually your enemy will bleed and you'll deal a lot of damage. He also starts with a bow and arrow, and two different arrow types, between standard arrows and fire arrows. So he's not a bad choice either for a starting class, but keep in mind his shield will not block 100% physical reduction. The Prisoner is your spell sword. Starts with 14 intelligence and 14 dexterity. So this is your magic melee hybrid for sorcery. Confessor, on the other hand, is your faith melee hybrid. Starts with a broadsword and a very good shield as well that blocks 100% damage reduction. And he specializes in faith and melee. He's almost like a paladin type of build. And lastly, we have the Wretch. This is your soul level 1 character. Starts at 10 for every single stat in the game, and you could fine-tune this character to however you'd want. Just keep in mind, if you do decide to pick this class, you will have no armor, and your only weapon will be a club, and you'll have no shield at all, so just keep that in mind if you're new. As previously mentioned, for starters, I would probably stick to the Vagabond, as he has the most health and good stat spread in strength, dexterity, intelligence, faith, and Arcane, depending on what type of build you'd want to go to. You could kind of fine-tune him however you'd want. That and the 100% physical damage reduction shield. Keep in mind, though, that you will also be fat rolling early on with the Vagabond, so unless you take off some armor or pump endurance, you will not be fast rolling. But guys, that's going to wrap up the video for now. It's just a quick description of each one of these classes, just in case you're new to the series and don't really know what you're looking at when you see these stats or these character classes. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more Elden Ring content on the channel coming in the next few days, and probably a few months even. Take care, guys.